We've got the ultimate Avengers Infinity War breakdown. After what seems like an infinite amount of waiting, the trailer for Avengers Infinity War has finally arrived. Now, we could waste a lot of time telling you how awesome, how epic, and how absolutely overstuffed it is with all of your favorite MCU characters, but you already know that. So instead, let's just dive into the good stuff. Here is our top-to-bottom breakdown of the first Avengers Infinity War trailer. Now, we open on a shot of stormy gas clouds over an alien planet. Now, the Marvel cosmic universe is pretty vast, but we're guessing this rock is pretty close to home, just a mere 746 million miles away. It's Titan, a moon that orbits Saturn and home to the Titans in Marvel Comics, including the movie's big bad, Thanos. And then cue the voiceover. The core Avengers take turns reciting lines from Nick Fury's famous pep talk from the first Avengers film, while we get quick shots of them looking stoic and worried. Tony Stark nurses an injured arm under an orange debris-filled sky. Doc Strange and Wong look slightly confused by a shirtless Bruce Banner who has just left a giant crater in the Sanctum Sanctorum, possibly because when he crashed through, he was gigantic and green. Now we've got a very human-looking Vision and Scarlet Witch enjoying a little domestic bliss in what we can assume is a dream sequence, since last we saw Vision was still an Avenger and Scarlet Witch was on the run at the end of Civil War. Plus, the whole Vision turning human thing isn't a power that we know about yet. Now, Thor is chilling on the Ravager's ship that the Guardians grabbed at the end of Volume 2. A now non-shirtless Bruce Banner is apparently in Wakanda alongside a destroyed Hulkbuster arm, and we close out with a shot of Black Widow with a new blonde hairdo before cutting to that iconic Marvel Studios logo. Now, an important thing to note in this section, both Doctor Strange and Vision still seem to be in possession of their Infinity Stones. Strange still has his around his neck, Vision still has his lodged in his forehead, so it's looking like Thanos still has quite a bit of work cut out for him. Now let's get into the real meat of this thing. After a quick shot of the former Avengers Tower in the distance, we're back in the Sanctum with Strange, Wong, Banner, and Stark, who is holding a phone in his hand, and judging by the very mid-2000s vibe of it, we can be pretty sure it's the same one that Cap sent to him at the end of Civil War in case he ever needed to contact him. Also, he's rocking a new triangular arc reactor in his chest, which is weird since he had the circular one pulled out in Iron Man 3. We can also see from the size of the hole in that stairwell that, yes, that was almost definitely the Hulk who crashed into the Sanctum, not Banner. Then it's Thanos' turn for a voiceover sesh. As he monologues, we see Tony head out to the streets where people are running in terror from something. But whatever it is, it's got Peter Parker's hair standing on end, which, by the way, is the first time we've seen this Spider-Man's Spidey sense in action. It was left out of Homecoming, so we could see the young wall crawler's abilities develop naturally over time. Anyway, this shot spins around to a giant circular ship in the sky that's got all of New York, from Peter Parker's school bus chums to Tony Stark and Doctor Strange, looking pretty scared. And they should be, because the streets of New York City are already on friggin' fire. Next, we cross the cosmos to find Loki stepping over the bodies of some dead Asgardians and handing the Tesseract over to someone, probably Thanos. Is the god of mischief already turning his back on his people after risking everything to save them after the end of Ragnarok? It wouldn't be totally out of character, but hopeful Hiddlesticks fans are guessing that this is actually a bid to spare the remaining Asgardians from Thanos' wrath. And speaking of Thanos, here comes our first look at the flying purple planet eater stepping out from a black void into the blue sky atmosphere of what we're guessing is either Earth or Xandar. Now, after that, it becomes pretty apparent that Peter Parker's whole "I don't want to be an Avenger" act from the end of Homecoming was just that, an act, because he went crawling back to Tony Stark begging for the Iron Spider suit, and he's putting it to good use, crawling on board of that circular ship that we saw a few shots earlier. Now it's time for a few more quickie hero and villain shots. It's Pirate Thor doing something in a reactor core. Then we get our first look at one of Thanos' Black Order, Proxima Midnight, as she tosses a spear at a shadowy bearded figure, almost certainly a fugitive Cap. Now it's Black Panther barking orders to get this man a shield, and finally it's Steve Rogers stepping out with his hot new facial hair, much to the delight of Scarlet Witch. But no time to admire the face fuzz, because here comes the Hulkbuster armor fully assembled in Wakanda. Now, from the way it's moving, we don't think it's Tony Stark in there. We think it might be Bruce Banner behind the steering wheel. Hulk is the Hulkbuster. Now jump to some more quick character shots, including Black Widow in the middle of a spear fight and Doc Strange being Doc Strangey on the streets of New York. Then we got some giant pillars dropping from the sky into Wakanda. Now this could be part of the kingdom's defense system, but more likely they're transport pods for the alien race that's about to attack. And now we get to what looks like the giant set piece of the movie, an epic Lord of the Rings style battle between the Avengers and their many allies against a race of four-armed aliens in the fields outside of Wakanda. Now there are a couple of four-armed alien races in Marvel lore, the Judans, the Grand Nan Holt, for example, but from their insect-like appearance, our guess is that they are the Vrelnexians. But more important than who they are is what the heck are they doing here? Well, after exhausting pretty much every other option, we're almost positive that the final Infinity Stone has to be hiding somewhere in Wakanda, and Thanos is going to bring the full might of his intergalactic fury down on the kingdom to complete his collection. This also leaves us wondering if we'll end up seeing that last Infinity Stone, the Soul Stone to be specific, in Black Panther this February. But wherever the Soul Stone is, let's hope it's safe, because as the trailer progresses, we see Thanos' evil schemes are starting to come to fruition. As he monologues about how much fun it is to destroy the galaxy, we see a bunch of shots of him winning big against the Avengers. He beats down Spidey in his shiny new suit. He has Tony looking super sad under that orange sky. He's got his minions ripping the Mind Stone out of Vision's head, and based on the boots and weapons of those minions, we're guessing that's Proxima Midnight and Corvus Glaive. Thanos then drops the Space Stone right into his Infinity Gauntlet alongside the Power Stone, meaning he's already messed with the Nova Corps. They were entrusted with the Power Stone at the end of Guardians 1, and the Nova Corps didn't put up much of a fight. And finally, he is knocking the crap out of Iron Man. But not all hope is lost, because the trailer ends with a few final heroes joining forces with the Wakandan military force. There's Winter Soldier, complete with a new arm, there's War Machine, and there's our first real look at the Hulk, and they're all charging into battle with those four-armed aliens. Another thing worth noting, at no point do we see Cap with his shield. It was left with Tony at the end of Civil War. However, we do see Cap wearing some Wakandan-style gloves in this shot. Combine that with T'Challa's shield line from earlier, it's possible the gloves could be hiding the energy shield Rogers was forced to use for a few years in the comics. Long shot? Probably. But it would still be pretty cool. And then finally, we close out with that epic Avengers theme music swelling up as the logo fades into view. And if that's not enough to get you sufficiently excited for May 4th, we get one last little treat. Thor and the Guardians meeting face to face, complete with a sullen adolescent Groot hanging in the background. Okay, so that is a friggin' ton to cover, so what exactly does that tell us about the movie? Well, besides it's coming and we couldn't be more excited for it, from the looks of it, the movie will divide its heroes into three different plot threads. You've got Thor and the Guardians covering the cosmic front, Doctor Strange and Spidey keeping the streets of New York safe, and then finally there's Cap, Black Panther, and the bulk of the Avengers holding down the fort in Wakanda, with Tony Stark then kind of acting as a wild card, possibly jumping from location to location. Now the big question we have now is, how much of the film does this trailer cover? We could definitely see this only being the first half of the Infinity War, leading to a second act where everyone assembles, but we could also see them saving that for the sequel. At this point, who knows? All we can say for certain is that we are stoked. But what do you folks think? Is there anything we missed in our breakdown? Are there any team-ups that you were disappointed we didn't see? Or are you more excited to see Chris Pratt in the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom trailer dropping tomorrow? Let's discuss. Be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss one of our world-famous stories, theories, or breakdowns. If you're a YouTube viewer, mash that little bell and you'll get notified as soon as a new video pops. And Facebook viewers, give us a like, won't you? And while you're at it, check the latest episode of The Dan Cave. Dan's looking back at the best games of 2017 just in time for your holiday shopping.